Hi, this is Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast, and this episode is brought to you by our friends at Shoal Creek Saloon, your unofficial home to UT men's and women's basketball. The Super Bowl 58 matchup is set, but not without some dramatic endings on both sides, both the AFC and NFC, and a Division I college basketball coach said some things that I'm sure all of us have considered ourselves, directed toward the officiating. Let's talk about it. There it is, the battle between the Longhorn and the Aggie. Kyle Shanahan, the former Texas wide receiver, beat Dan Campbell, former Texas A&M tight end, a great one, good pro, and he's going to be a really good head coach. As we enter episode 346 here, go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube page and follow each of our social media outlets, that being TikTok, Twitter /X, Facebook, Instagram. We've got it all. But go ahead and follow those, but be sure to subscribe to that YouTube page. And big shout out to Shoal Creek Saloon, your home away from the Moody Center for Texas men's and women's basketball, and honest plumbing and air, where a handshake still means something. Right now is the time to start shopping for a new AC or HVAC, if we want to be technical about it. Hey, Super Bowl LVIII is set, and you saw that graphic right there. Kyle Shanahan won the battle between the Lone Star rival head coaches. San Fran going back to the Super Bowl to play Kansas City. Two great games yesterday. You know, a lot of people, and including myself, if you really, the couch head coaches, if you will, Dan Campbell being aggressive, didn't go for 2 field goals, which could have been the easy decision, but a 48-yard field goal, that's kind of questionable, but he went for it, and they were not successful, the Detroit Lions. Great season, no less, for the Lions, but that is definitely going to be on the minds of Campbell, the Lions, and that organization before they report to OTAs again about the decision not to go for it. But Brock Purdy, phenomenal kid. If you notice a theme this year, a lot of big-time performers in NFL this year, some great storylines which are tied to people who are open about their Christian faith. Okay, we've all been there. We've all been there where we wanted to criticize officials. I'm not one to ever blame. I'm a huge advocate of officials, the human element of it. They're not perfect. They're just like you. They're just like me. Never perfect, ever, 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 nor will we ever be. And they do receive a ton of criticism. And Kyle Keller, 8th-year head coach at Division I college basketball program, Stephen F. Austin. And I'm not talking about this or showing this to you because I'm an alum. I'm a proud supporter of the athletics programs there, very vocal about it. And I like Kyle Keller. Well, in the Western Athletic Conference, the WAC, the Lumberjacks played 2 of the top 4 teams recently, Grand Canyon, and the Jacks had the lead in that game. They were in position to potentially win that game at home, but there were 2 calls late, which were not called, or potential fouls, which were not called, which were not in favor, did not favor the Lumberjacks. Fast forward to the California Baptist game on Saturday. A call late, 58 seconds remaining. A call that was not made, and a call that was against Stephen F. Austin. But it's not the call that was made against Stephen F. Austin. It's the calls that were not called or made. Again, I'm a huge supporter of officials in every sport, but I think Keller is on to something here. And I've seen a few rants in my days, back in my media days, including Mike Gundy's. I'm a man, I'm 40. I was there. I've seen some coaches go off. Bobby Knight, seen him go off on things. But, I want you to listen to this. I mean, because now the Lumberjacks, after that loss to Cal Baptist and Grand Canyon, they're 12-8 on the year, 5-4 in the WAC. But this was Kyle Keller after that game. He's fed up. He just could not take it anymore because this is long. This is edited, but just the vital parts that you need to see. Feel the emotion in this.
I'm really disappointed that we have 6 guys in the last 2 games that are afraid to call their freaking whistle when it's been a foul for the whole game. And when I got 14 kids in there bawling their eyes out, and we got 3,000 people in here that are disappointed, and 100,000 alumni that care so much about Stephen F. Austin. And we got 3 guys who swallow their whistle 2 games in a row. 6 guys swallow their whistle. It's been a foul all game long, and they decide they're not going to call it. And I know our head of officials says if a foul at 19:58 in the first half, it's a foul with 3 seconds left in the game. And you can't tell me that's not been a foul the last two plays. And I'll probably get reprimanded or whatever from our league, but it's a foul. And if they get away with it, why can't I get away with telling the truth here? If they can walk off the floor with no reprimand, why can't I? It's not right. And it's not right. I don't think it's right. And I'm sick of it. 2 games in a row. It's not fair. Can cost us a league championship. Determines our people's mental health. We worry about mental health. Hey, these adults, they don't care about our kids' mental health, or they call a foul because they call the game right. Mental health. Hey, check my mental health after these guys just laugh at each other after they don't call a foul. Determines a win or a loss.
Cal Keller, you're not wrong. Not wrong. He's going to bat for his team. And I promise you the emotions that I'm showing you right now are not because I'm one of the 100,000 proud SFA alumni who care. I am, but he's not wrong. And I'm not saying that the officiating was purposely not in Stephen F. Austin's favor. It's just the officiating I've noticed in basketball this year, not everywhere, is pretty average. But there's only so much a coach can take, whether you agree with me or not, that, coaches and players cannot say anything about officiating. At the college level, a coach can be reprimanded and or fined. I haven't seen the updates on it. I'm sure there's been a review of tape by the head of Western Athletic Conference officiating, review of tape. Usually that ends up, I've seen the Big 12 do it, make apologies that, hey, we did get it wrong or we made a mistake. But he's not wrong if a official makes a mistake and doesn't call the foul. Well, a coach should be able to voice it. Now, I'm not saying make a habit of it, but when you cost a team potentially 2 significant W's, because now Stephen F. is 3 games behind in that conference race. But then you can, on the other side of the coin, you could easily say, well, make more plays earlier in the game so you're not in that position late in the game to be in a position where a call or no call affects it, which is also why I don't criticize officials or blame officials for the outcome of any game. But I think Coach Keller's onto something here. I really do. What do you think? I mean, I know you got to see the video and not just believe everything I'm saying, but would love to hear your thoughts on college basketball officiating. Hey, moving on. 2 years of retirement was enough for one of our guys, Todd Dodge, who is a member of the Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast family. He ends his retirement after 2 years. He is. We do these podcasts with Todd periodically called inside the field house with TD. He led Southlake Carroll and Westlake to a total of 7 state championships. He's a legend in Texas high school football, no doubt. He's quarterback and Port Arthur Jefferson. But on the left, you see he and his lovely wife. On the left, they were in Lovejoy, Texas, Lovejoy ISD. Speaking of Stephen F., who Todd Dodge succeeds is Chris Ross, who was a colorful, animated, and highly successful coach at Lovejoy. He's now the offensive coordinator at Stephen F. Austin. Coach Carthel got a good one on his staff there. But yeah, Todd Dodge back into coaching, 2 years of retirement. But I'll say this, in our conversations, you never know what a man will do, but he had alluded to several times, or a couple of times, of being closer to his son, Riley, and his family, because they have grandchildren, and his daughter now has a grandchild as well. But Riley, who's the head coach at Southlake Carroll. So there he is. They'll be 30 minutes apart, Lovejoy and Southlake. They'll be close. And Todd Dodge back in the game. And I would rest assured, if you're a betting person, I would venture to say that he'll have Lovejoy competing potentially for state championships real soon. There's no doubt about that. If we're going to talk about high school sports, one of the big days every 2 years is the University Interscholastic League realignment. UIL realignment day is this Thursday. And they've been more transparent about all this, releasing the admission numbers, so you kind of get an idea of where the cutoff will be, because there's a snapshot day. I believe it's every other year in October. Snapshot day, the same day in which all high schools across the state of Texas turn in their enrollment. And then that's how the UIL works the numbers and determines where 6A Division I, 6A 2, go down the list to 1A, which is 6-man now for football, determine where the enrollment admission, cutoff is to classify teams. UIL realignment day is pretty exciting, but it's also a pretty exciting time. There's these district centers or places where these coaches will meet, regional hubs, if you will, and they'll do this Thursday morning, and UIL reps will distribute to these centers, these hubs across the state. There's usually one here locally in Round Rock. Good story. Dozens of coaches, head coaches, and they'll drive in for miles, because what they'll do, they will receive their assigned districts from the UIL. And then these coaches who are not in their district, they'll talk about scheduling non-district games, because you find out what district and that determines how many non-district games you need to schedule. It's a pretty cool experience to watch it all break down, and that's where a lot of my connections to high school football. That's why I'm deeply connected to the game. So that is Thursday, February 1st, and we'll keep you updated on that on the Stories Inside the Man Cave Twitter/X page and on Instagram and Facebook. Hey, before we wrap this thing up, I do want to say an organization here in Austin, which is dear to my heart, a lot of amazing people, true leaders, selfless individuals like Justin Simmons, Matt Price, the list goes down, both of which have been on this podcast. RBI's Now at Bat event is almost every year at the end of January. It was at the Fairmont Hotel this past Friday here in Austin. Things have become such a success with RBI that we expect to raise over $1 million in one night. That includes the sponsored tables and everything. But RBI Austin, if you'd like to learn about it, it's rbiaustin.org. It's restoring baseball to the inner city, sanctioned by Major League Baseball. It essentially gives mentorship, baseball, and softball opportunities to inner city youth, but also growing the game and growing character and providing support to kids whose just they don't have the best environments, and it's all a family, including their families, all together. Be a part of it. Highly recommend RBI Austin. It's rewarding. I was a mentor for quite a while. Shout out to Leontre. I hope you're watching. Proud of that kid. He's doing well, and so are our 1,500 other kids. 1,500 other kids, whether it be baseball, softball, or part of the mentorship program. So that's it. That's it for this edition of Let's Talk About It. A little long, but one thing is for sure: when in doubt, it's always good to talk about it.